All right, so moving on to our second discussion. In the studio with us, we have, okay, before we introduce, what do you expect from a country where there are no little or no skilled or highly innovative experts? Now, undoubtedly, there will be reduction in the level of technological development because only the less skilled workers are left in the country. This is why Nigeria, despite the fact that it got independence in 1960, is still struggling to meet up with other countries in terms of technology. Now, the truth is that when skilled personnel leave Nigeria for better opportunities, they do their best to prove their worth in these developed countries, and in so doing they develop these countries, leaving their country at a loss. According to Devex, every week, at least 12 Nigerian doctors are employed in the United Kingdom alone, and this shows that more than 40% of students trained as medical doctors in Nigeria are not practicing in this country. Now, let's put this into proper perspective as we have joining us in the studio the Executive Director, Africa Youth Growth Foundation, Dr. Arome Salifu. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Daybreak.
Thank you, my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, now, the question still remains, why do we still see, mass exodus of, Nigerians leaving the country and all of that?
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to share my opinion on this very interesting topic. Nigerians are not leaving the country because they want to leave the country. Nobody would ordinarily want to leave his home or her home without any compelling reason. Over the years, if you cast your mind back to the last 30 years before now, 25 years before now, thereabout, literally a lot of Nigerians never had the urge to just rush out of the country. They had the need to travel on holidays, to go for education, to go for, different other reasons other than just to relocate out of the country, and basically that was because, the prevailing socioeconomic, atmosphere was conducive for them to stay back in the country. Right now, the situation cannot be said to be the same. It's the reverse, it's the opposite of what it used to be as a country. Right now, the current level of unemployment, we have 42.5 or so % youth unemployment rate. A country of about 200 million and having 42% of youth unemployment, that is already a disaster. We are talking of about 75 million persons on the street working, doing absolutely nothing, and there's no society where you have that kind of situation and you can still maintain, peace and stability, or you can still maintain, some sense of responsibility or sense of fulfillment on the side of the citizens. Now, a lot of young people that are actually affected by this unfortunate situation, they have to explore other alternatives. And one of those alternatives, of course, include leaving the country, because the world has become a global village. Remember, Nigeria is not living in isolation of the rest of the world. So they've got to think outside Nigeria if they have got to survive, because the first natural instinct of any man is self-survival, is self-preservation. So you've got to think for yourself first. If you choose to stay back, then you probably choose to stay regardless of the limited options or opportunities. If you choose to leave, maybe to Canada, maybe to any other country for that matter, and you see that the opportunities are more and the pay are better, or the payment or the salaries or the wages are far better, and if you compare other social security and other infrastructures that are attracting these people, that is the pull factors now. You have to justify their decision even without asking them. So until we are ready as a country to address the push factors as against, you know, I mean, the push factors like unemployment, like poverty, like, you know, insecurity, okay, like poor, you know, health infrastructures, like poor educational infrastructures. I can tell you for free, a lot of the persons that are living are not just living for themselves alone. They're also living thinking about the future of their children. What kind of educational infrastructures are available in this country right now? All the public primary schools are mere glorified, you know, makeshift, you know, secondary, primary, learning centers. The same for secondary schools. The same for universities. You cannot say this is a standardized public institution in terms of education. The same for health infrastructures. Our hospitals are not functional the way they are supposed to be functional. The facilities, the equipments are not available. And even where government made any attempt to make this available, corruption eroded all of those efforts away, because oftentimes you see huge amount of money budgeted both in the education sector and in the health sector, yet we don't see the result at the end of the day because of corruption. No. So there are many hydra-headed, you know, issues confronting us as a country, and therefore thereby compelling a lot of citizens to live, you know, regardless of the fact that they don't want to live, you know, ordinarily. Okay,
now talking about, you know, the health sector, as you have earlier stated, just 2 days ago, President Muhammadu Buhari was lamenting, you know, the mass exodus of Nigerian, you know, doctors out of the country, saying that this is taking a toll on the health sector. Many will say, well, this shouldn't be coming, you know, from a president.
Yeah. Yes, you see, this again calls for introspection, you know, as regards where did we get it wrong, how did we get to this point. You see, for a medical doctor that probably spends about 8 years, you know, to qualify to become a medical doctor, to be out there in the labor market and to work in the hospital, not getting the best of, you know, working conditions, you know, not the best of salary, not the best of equipments, not the best of anything else you can imagine compared to the rest of the world, you know. And remember, medical line is well, it's one of those, you know, disciplines that are well respected, they are well rewarded, they are well, you know, appreciated all over the world. So if you are not respected, if you are not appreciated in your own country, the natural instinct is for you to go to where you'll be respected and appreciated and rewarded accordingly. And that is why you hear, I don't know if you people got the recruitment that was taking place in one of the hotels in town, where a lot of medical doctors had to queue to leave the country to Saudi Arabia. Now, this is just one case, one instance, and thousands of them are leaving. Thousands, you know, and one thing that will come to your mind is that the best are leaving. So what is the safety of the rest of us who are leaving, who are staying back, in terms of us going to the hospital? We're not going to meet the best of the doctors anymore. We're going to probably meet only those few, you know, patriotic ones that feel, regardless, I have to serve my country. But how many of them will be so patriotic and at the detriment of their welfare and all of that? If you're in Saudi Arabia and they're paying you thousands of dollars, and you're in Nigeria and they're paying you maybe just 250,000, even in some cases not even up to, and then you look at the exchange rate, the Naira exchange rate of today, where a dollar is exchanging for 550, 570. And now you want to stay back, for example, and receive what you cannot even use to buy anything in the market at the end of the day. And then if you go to the other side, Saudi Arabia or Canada or UK, as the case may be, and you are getting paid, and you are, if you convert that money to Naira, it becomes a different interpretation. It becomes a different conversation. So they are being rational. And what I expect the government to do is not to complain. Like you just rightly said, Mr. President complained that medical doctors are leaving and all of that. The right thing to do is to provide leadership to inspire these people to stay back. It's a the international labor migration has always been there. So you cannot compel people not to leave. What you now need to do is to upgrade and upscale your own, labor or wage compensation regime, particularly in the medical sector, so that they will be able to see reason why they should stay back. When they compare what they are to receive in Dubai, in UK, in Canada, in Saudi Arabia, to what they are to receive in Nigeria, they will be able to see the merit in the argument as regards staying back in the country. But it's not just expecting that they will stay back and then without you doing something or anything about it.
Okay, so what is the impact of this mass exodus, on Nigeria's sustainable development goal?
A lot. In fact, it's actually a major risk as we speak. It's a risk that if we don't address it, there's no way as a country we'll be able to meet up with the sustainable development goals. There's no magic about it, because the sustainable development goals are so stratified to actually, touch literally every aspect of our existence as a people. Now, you need adequate human capital to facilitate that process to happen. If you don't have that resource, that capacity to impact on your population, be it in the health sector, be it in the education sector, be it in technology, be it whatever area you can imagine, you certainly will not be able to meet up with the target and the goals. Now, if you look at, the entire conversation, it's not just in the health sector. I can tell you that engineers are leaving. I can tell you that even the social scientists are also living. Okay? I can tell you that all the best that we could rely on or fall back on or depend on to actually accelerate and facilitate and fast track our development as a country are living. So the danger is the fact that we are likely to actually have serious impact, negative impact of this on our development, both in terms of the short, the medium, and the long-term basis. Because a lot of these people that are leaving will not see reason to even come back to this country for many years to come. Because a lot of them have had so bad an experience that they wouldn't even imagine coming back to this country, even their generations. Kidnapping is taking place. This is Christmas period. A lot of people are praying as to if they are to go to their hometown or not, because they are not sure of their safety and security. Now, this is the country we're talking about. To move from Abuja to Kaduna, you've got to pray. To move from Abuja to Lokoja, you've got to pray. I mean, this is unimaginable, and this is highly unacceptable. Okay. That as a country, this is where we have found ourselves, and there's no headway, there's no sign whatsoever that there's hope, in the pipeline to actually end or stop.
Okay, so before we quickly wrap up, the show, right now Nigeria has quite a debt profile, and there's so much, we're spending so much, on insecurity and all of that. Adjusting, workers' wages doesn't seem to be a priority for us right now.
Well, you see, I have to be honest with you. We are headed towards a disastrous end as a country. And I'm being honest as a Nigerian. There's what we call home truth. Home truth is what you tell yourself or your immediate family members will tell you. Only them can tell you that home truth, not outsider. Now, as a Nigerian, the responsibility is for us to also tell ourselves the basic truth. If you look at the population growth, in the next, by the year 2050, Nigeria will be the third most populous country in the world. Now, this is something we are not even planning thinking about as a country. There's nothing in place to actually look at that picture that is ahead of us as a country. No measure, no policy, nothing to respond to it. Now, as we are growing in population, so also our demand for jobs will be increasing. And the government is not also expanding its revenue base, because we are still depending on oil, that any single fluctuation, any minor fluctuation in the international oil price affects or impacts on our ability to even pay salary.
Thank you so much. That's ending. Yes, but then we will definitely invite you another day and we'll continue this particular discussion.
No
Thank you so much. That was Aromes Lifu. He's the Executive Director, African Youth Growth Foundation.